Hi, I'm Krista Schaus, Director of Development with United Way of Central Kentucky. In today's episode of Common Good in the Commonwealth, we have Kyle Souleyrette with Owen LaRue Financial. He'll be speaking with Joe about year-end giving.
Thanks, Krista. I appreciate the introduction. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about year-end giving. I have a friend of mine, Kyle Souleyrette, with Owen LaRue Financial, I believe.
Yeah.
And Kyle, if you'd like to go ahead and take just a moment or two and tell us a little about yourself and what you do there.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into some things people can look at the end of the year to help themselves out and possibly a nonprofit at the same time.
Sure. Yeah. So we're an independent investment advisory firm located here in Elizabethtown. And we really work with a lot of business owners and families here in our local area and then in the region in general, helping with investment management, but also that planning piece and kind of bringing the whole team around them to make sure that all of their financial life is in good order and moving in the right direction so they can focus on whatever it is, their business, their family, whatever that may be.
Super.
Yeah.
So what type of strategies could a person employ at the end of the year that might help them from a tax advantage standpoint and again, at the same time, help someone like United Way or one of the other nonprofits?
Yeah, for sure, certainly. So first thing I would say, just a bit of a disclaimer, is I'm not a tax professional.
Sure.
So take into your own your specific situation and speak to your own tax professional, CPA preferably. But in general, I would say that there's three main ways generally that we've seen and that we'll kind of advise people towards. Number one would be if you're in retirement age and you're having to take RMDs or the required minimum distribution.
So you're talking to me. Okay.
Listen, I didn't say anything at all about that, okay? But,
I got it.
But what you can do in that is, as a portion of that RMD, if you're going to give charitably with those dollars, you can do what's called a qualified charitable distribution. And so instead of those dollars coming to you and then you writing a check to the United Way, you can tell your financial professional, whoever, and say, hey, I want to do the QCD or that qualified charitable distribution. And that counts towards your total for your RMD for that year, but it goes directly to that charity. So it's just a little smoother. It can be an easier way to do that instead of you having to receive it and then you writing a check and all that. It's just a little smoother that way.
Okay.
The other option that we see a lot of is giving appreciated assets. And so what that means is stock, bonds, real estate, even sometimes ownership in certain partnerships or LLCs, anything like that. Those can be gifted as well. And the advantage of doing that and gifting the security itself or the asset instead of selling it and then giving the asset, or, what you've got left over, is you're giving the full amount. So if you buy something for $100 and it goes up to $150, and you say, hey, I want to give all of that $150 away. Well, if you sell it, there's going to be tax implications there. But if you give the whole asset immediately, the charity benefits because they get the full $150, and you benefit. You're getting you're donating all of it without any of those tax consequences.
Right.
And then a third thing I would say is, for several people, if you've had a large taxable event in this year, selling a business or all manner of other things, there are an option called a donor advised fund. And what that does is it allows you to make a large charitable contribution in 1 year and get the benefit of that tax-wise for you. But as well, you can then, throughout a number of years in the future, make donations or grants out of that and say, hey, we want to give a set amount each year to the United Way or what other charity you may be so inclined to do that way. And so you get the benefit all in 1 year, but then you can slowly over time make those donations to maybe not overwhelm an organization with a large inflow of cash. And you can set up and say, hey, you're going to be set on this. Well, we're going to make donations for the next X amount of years or whatever else through that time. But the last thing as far as charitable giving or even planning goes is make it a family event, get everybody involved. I've been blessed with parents that were very charitably inclined, and I watched them growing up be very charitable. But it's being charitable or being charitably inclined is not something that somebody just wakes up one day and does. It's a skill, it's a learned trait, it's a muscle that needs to be developed. And so that can look like, if you have little kids, maybe saying, hey, here's a $20 bill. You're going to decide where you want to give this year, and talking through those decisions with them and that kind of thing. If you have older kids or grandkids, nieces and nephews, whatever, maybe talk through about, hey, we're going to donate as a family. Where do we want to do that? Talking about thinking through, why are we donating to this group or that group, whatever else. Because we're very blessed here in our community to live in a very giving society and local community, but that has to be perpetuated. And so to continue to, get your family involved. It could be a new family Christmas tradition, maybe even, to talk about, hey, where are we going to make our gifts at the end of the year as a family, and then, like I said, to perpetuate that as we go along.
That's awesome. I love that idea. It's almost like you're teaching your kids that we're all going to eventually be Santa.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're going to give freely.
Yeah.
Without receiving.
Right.
And that you got to teach that.
Yeah.
And I think that's an awesome idea. I really
Absolutely.
like that. Well, I really appreciate your thoughts on this.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You have anything else you want to add?
I don't think, I think that's, it's just making sure you have a plan, and bringing the right people around you to make sure that you're doing well for others, but also making sure that everything's going in the right direction.
Well, we appreciate it very much. And, with young professionals like Kyle on hand in our community, we're in good hands. We really appreciate you being on board and stopping by to see us. And Merry Christmas to all, and we'll see you next year.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.